Okay, Alexandra asked me to speak to you guys about what makes a nation productive or unproductive. And it might seem unfair when a nation that's poor gets paid less for doing hard work. And I've kind of gotten to see this in the first person because my company, Winger Manufacturing, has a station here in America and it has one over in Brazil. And so I got to see why it is that their workers are paid less per hour. And what it really comes down to is how productive is the person per hour. Now you're probably thinking like, man, those people are just as hardworking, just as intelligent as anybody I know here, maybe even more so. But what it comes down to is three different categories: equipment, human capital, and infrastructure. You probably already know what all of these mean, but I can add some examples onto them by just pointing out what it is that happens between Winger Brazil and what the differences are between Winger Brazil and Winger here in Sabetha. So equipment is obviously like the quality of the equipment that you get to use while you're at work. And here's some good examples. Whenever the Brazilians came, they were so amazed that we had a software called Creo. This is a 3D modeling software, and it allows you to kind of create a broad structure and then modify it based upon specific requirements. And it does stuff like automatically creates bills of materials, and it gives you weights on all of your different pieces of equipment. It's just it's a very thorough program and allows you to predict stuff very quickly and to also create several different bills of materials very quickly. So it's a very important for manufacturing. It's a very critical piece of software, but they don't have it. They still work off of like two-dimensional drawings, and they try to predict stuff by sitting there with their calculator and working it all out. And the difference between that is that I can create a shop order from Creo for our shop to create like a dryer. I can create it within about 1 day, and over there it takes about 1 week. It's not because I'm smarter; it's because I just have so much better equipment. And you also see this with like stuff like we have trucks that we use to haul our stuff. They have to like rent trucks and stuff. We have steel manufacturing plants that know us, and we've got a good rapport with them, and we get steel very quickly, and it's quality steel, and so we have all these different things that make us very successful, and of course we even have like advanced machine shop equipment. So we have stuff that bends plates of steel for us. We have this really awesome laser that can cut through a quarter-inch of steel like it was paper, and just really cool stuff. So we can create stuff quickly because of our equipment. Now, I mentioned that it's not that we're any smarter or more motivated, but we have some unique human capital that gives us an advantage. And so when I talk to the people who are from Brazil, most of them have been working for at least, well, actually, not more than 1 month. They're all recent hires, and they were fresh out of college, which that gives them an edge in kind of knowing new stuff. But all of our guys have been doing the manufacturing of extruders and dryers for like 30 years and 15 years. And to give you an example, my coworker who creates dryers with me, he's worked at Winger for 15 years. So we have a 15-year experience coworker. And then my boss, who helps me create dryers as well, he's been there for 30 years. We have a guy who's retiring this week, and he'll have worked there for 40 years. And so you just have like all this really good uh, human capital that, I mean, this is years of knowledge, mistakes, successes that really lend itself to creating a quality product the first time. And it's hard to put a price on how important that experience is. And then the third thing that contributes to productivity is infrastructure. And if you think about it, I don't know if you've seen pictures of Brazil or video. They really don't have that great of an infrastructure. And what I mean by that is they don't have like the best roads. It's a lot of dirt roads and stuff, or maybe kind of roads with potholes. And roads aren't the only thing that they lack. So let's see here. Let's just put roads. Another thing that they lack is they lack like a free market. The government puts a lot of controls on what they can import and export. And one of the things that they suffer with most, like we have to ship them some of our equipment to help them run, but we can't ship them too much because they have tariffs, very expensive tariffs. Typically, you pay a 50% tax on whatever you send. So if you send something that's worth $1,000, you have to pay $1,500. I mean, it ends up costing you $1,500 because you have to pay $500 just to get it through the government border. And they also have monopolies where the government has told people that they can only buy steel from one manufacturer, or the government gives favor to one manufacturer of steel so that it's really hard to get steel from someone else. So that kind of goes back to equipment. They can't get the kind of steel that we can because they're kind of left to luck if the steel manufacturer has it and if they'll give them a good price. So that kind of hurts them a little bit. And then, of course, they also have like older cars. It's kind of like roads, I guess, but they have older cars. It's just been hard to have. They don't have the same kind of equipment, human capital, infrastructure that we do, so they suffer a lot in how much they can produce. So if you think about it, like even though, like I said, there's nothing really that different between their people and our people. If you pay Winger here in Sabetha, say $1 million, we can create a extruder and a dryer within about 2 months. And if you pay Winger Brazil like that same $1 million for an extruder and a dryer, you're going to get it in about 6 months. And that's lost time and lost capacity. You've shot yourself in the foot if you have a time limit you're trying to hit. And so for a lot of people, it's worth it to pay a little bit more and get a faster time and to get it more like a more quality product and to get it like what you asked for when you expect it. So that's kind of the general idea of what determines productivity.
Can you explain how Creo reduces the time? Like with Creo, you can make something in a week. Without it, it takes months.
Yeah. Well, kind of as I explained before, Creo